And welcome back. Well, you all know about the Saddleback College Emeritus Institute. Fantastic programs there. And we have a great instructor with us today, Tim Vargas, and he teaches World War II history, right?
It's true.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So tell me about your background. Have you been a history teacher for years in other locations?
Well, I taught at Mission Viejo High School for 35 years.
Wow. All right.
Retired in June of 14. Also,
Good
I taught
high school.
The best.
Yeah.
Diablos. And I also taught at night for the Saddleback College.
Oh,
and
great.
It just so happened that they ended the class I'd been teaching for decades, right around the same time I retired. So I was free in July 2014. And I approached the Emeritus Institute with this idea for this class that I thought might get some traction here in this community. And Dean Robinson agreed. So that's basically the history of how this class was originated.
All right. So when you were at Mission, did you teach history primarily?
Yeah, I taught American history and
Okay.
American political science.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously you're well versed in this.
Perhaps.
Well, you know, here in this community, I'm sure this is a very popular subject, right?
Yeah, I've only been doing it 3 semesters, but I'm gratified by the response. It's been very enjoyable, and hopefully my students are getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And it'll get better, I hope, in time. Yeah.
So what does it encompass? Obviously World War II, but that can start really 10, 15 years before we got into it, and then linger afterwards, right?
Well, to sort of narrow the focus, the class is called Deliver Us from Evil. It's a focus on the American home front during the Second World War. So I begin with a military overview of both the Pacific and the European theaters of operation, but the real thrust of the course is on life here, Japanese-American relocation, race relations, women at war. So that allows me to be able to narrow my focus so that I don't get into going all the way back to the Franco-Prussian War as an antecedent.
So you're dealing with it, how it affected us here during that time. That's interesting.
And it also means that so many people were not soldiers or sailors or airmen. They were teenagers during the war, and so consequently it touches everybody.
Yeah, you talk about things like rationing and how businesses from the film industry to the car industry turned around overnight to help out.
That's exactly right, yeah. It's a mobilization had never been anything like it in American history before, and probably will never be anything like it after.
Yeah,
I hope.
And exactly. Do you also touch on the fact that mobilization happened because, for the most part, the country came together for one purpose? Do you see that? Although they're just like today, there were those who detractors from it and protesters back then as well, right?
But very little.
Yeah.
This was truly a national effort. There's probably never been a time where there's been a greater consensus about what needed to be done, and that makes it unusual and makes it extraordinary. Studs Terkel wrote that book called The Good War, and that pretty much historians agree with him. So everybody paid attention, whether even the small children, because they were involved in rubber drives and collecting kitchen fats, all the way up to GIs.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So you get a myriad of responses from this, and some of them are very, very intimate. Things they remember. Well, it's been 71 years, so things that people remember when they were little small children.
Yeah, and what I hear from many instructors here is what the folks here, the residents, the students, bring to the class, and obviously something like this, you're getting some firsthand experiences.
I am. The level of interest is great. Participation, the focus is all very gratifying. I really enjoy it. And like I said, they all have great stories. I learn more from them. This is not dealing with adolescents.
Yeah,
and these people have tremendous life experiences, and their questions are, I got to prepare myself because a lot of times their questions are so well informed that I'm taken back by it, but that's part of my learning process too. I'm new at it with them.
And the biggest difference here, again, is what I hear, is you're not dealing with adolescents who, guess what, this semester you have to take American history.
That's true.
People take this class because they want to.
And there's no papers to grade. And you don't have to tell them to put their cell phones away, which is probably, from the teacher's point of view, a lot of good.
Do you see this expanding, maybe going into the Korean War or something, like a whole nother course in a couple years?
You know, I don't know. I really don't. That's a decision that's really above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I assume I'm relatively green to this. This is only my third semester.
Yeah.
And there have been professors that have been teaching classes at the Emeritus Institute for decades. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I could see this
have to talk to
expanding.
my boss about that.
Yeah, but I could definitely see this expanding quite a bit. What about materials for the class? Do they need to bring anything? Do you provide stuff, or do you show?
Well, you know, there are more books written on the Second World War
Yeah.
than you can imagine. But no, there's no textbooks involved. I provide them with a series of maps and an outline of subjects that we're going to pursue. Other than that, they can just come on in and sit and listen. I do show a lot of movies.
Okay.
Sort of the color commentary. I'm the narrativist, and the color commentary shows, you know, the people, places, battles, and that's kind of an addition. But
Do you
no,
ever
they don't-
show any of the old, what were they called, movie tone or movie? You know.
Yeah, I do. I show a lot of primary source movies from the war. Why We Fight by Frank Capra. Maybe you're familiar with that.
Yeah. I think one of the most unique things is about this time, there were hundreds of unique things, but the fact that a lot of different types of industries were born out of this time that a lot of people don't even think about, particularly things that we use today, microwave technology and things like that. And it's quite fascinating that during that time, how much came out of that war. Faxing is another thing that started back around that time, and that we don't realize that, yes, this was, you know, a horrible war and the conditions and things like that, but from that, so many wonderful things happened.
War is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
You're right. Full employment, national cohesion. There are a lot of positive aspects of the war, and for many people, it was the central experience of their life, and they're more than willing to listen about it and to talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's an education for me too. I've gone back to school myself.
Well, very good. When are your classes? When do you teach? Although they're ongoing right now, will you have one coming up for the summer?
No.
Okay.
No, only in the spring and fall.
Okay.
One class here in the Florence Sylvester on Fridays, and then I'm down at the Fountains in Dana Point on Tuesdays.
Okay.
But I've moved around. I was at the clubhouses last year.
Okay, great. Nice to have you on.
Thank you
I
for
think this is a
having me.
great subject. And yeah, I see you doing more on this and sticking around for quite a
Hope so.
while. All right, nice to meet you. And again, if you want to find out more about what's available with the Emeritus program, just go to saddleback.edu/emeritus. You get all the information there. Tim, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
All right, we'll be right back. Okay.